I never believed in alphas. Not the mythological ones, not the ones from whispered online forums. It was all just fantasy, a trope for stories that had nothing to do with real life. Then Dominic Hale looked at me, and the world I knew cracked open. He was just there one day, a new fixture on campus, impossible to miss. He stood a head taller than most, his shoulders blocking the light in the lecture hall doorway. He moved with a stillness that felt more like a predator conserving energy than a student trying to fit in. Everyone's eyes tracked him. I made a point of looking away. My first mistake was dropping my notebook after Psych 101. The sound of his voice behind me was like a physical touch, low and resonant, stopping me in my tracks. "You dropped this." I turned. He was holding out my notebook, his gaze fixed on me. His eyes weren't just brown. They were the color of dark amber, flecked with gold. He glanced down at my name on the cover. "Alfred." He said my name like he was tasting it, committing it to memory. A simple statement, but it felt like a brand. "I'm Dominic." When I took the notebook, our fingers brushed. A jolt, sharp and electric, shot up my arm. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic, panicked rhythm. His eyes darkened, his pupils swallowing the gold for a single, endless second. He walked away, and I was left standing there, my skin humming where he'd touched me. After that, he was everywhere, leaning against the brick wall outside my dorm as I left for class. Sitting in the library, his presence a weight I could feel from across the room. His gaze would find me, steady and intense, and I'd feel a flush heat my skin. I started dreaming of him. Not sweet dreams, but visceral, overwhelming ones. Dreams where his voice was a rumble in my chest, where a possessive single word, mine, echoed in the dark, and I'd wake up gasping, my sheets tangled, my body aching with a confusion that shamed me. I had a boyfriend, Ethan. Kind, steady, safe Ethan, who brought me coffee and remembered my birthday. But when he held my hand, my mind drifted to the electric shock of a casual brush of fingers. When he kissed me, I found myself searching for a darker, more dangerous scent. It was a Tuesday evening, the air cool and smelling of cut grass. Ethan was walking me back to my dorm, his arms slung comfortably over my shoulders, telling a story that made me laugh. The sound died in my throat when I saw him. Dominic emerged from the gathering dusk, his silhouette cutting through the golden hour light. He didn't look at Ethan. His entire focus was on me, a laser beam that stripped away everything else. The air grew thick, hard to breathe. He moved directly into our path, forcing us to stop. Ethan's arm tightened around me. "What's your problem, man?" Ethan said, his voice tense. Dominic ignored him. He stepped so close I could feel the heat radiating from his body. His hand came up, and his fingers brushed my wrist. A deliberate, searing touch. "Stay away from him." Dominic's voice was a low whisper, meant only for me. It vibrated through my bones. "He has no claim on you. Only I do." My breath hitched. Ethan tried to step forward, but Dominic didn't even flinch. The threat was in his stillness, in the sheer dominance that rolled off him. "You're mine," he murmured, his voice dropping to a rough, intimate growl. "Stop wasting his time." His eyes searched my face, seeing the fear, the unwanted thrill. "Do you want me to show you what it means to be mine?" I don't." My voice was a pathetic tremor. He leaned in, his lips nearly brushing my ear. "This is your first warning, Alfred." Then he was gone, melting back into the shadows. But he'd left his mark. His scent, sandalwood and stormy air, clung to my skin, to my clothes. That night, when Ethan tried to kiss me goodnight, I flinched. The familiar smell of Ethan's cologne was suddenly, terribly wrong. By Friday, the tension was a live wire under my skin. The sunset was a violent splash of red and orange. Ethan and I were by the campus gate again, a deliberate attempt to reclaim the space, to pretend things were normal. It was a futile effort. The shift in the atmosphere was instantaneous. The hair on my arms stood up. I didn't need to turn around to know he was there. Dominic walked out of the shadows, his eyes glowing with an unnatural molten gold light. He was pure, controlled fury. He didn't speak. He just closed the distance between us in a few ground-eating strides, and his hand clamped around my wrist like a manacle of iron. "You're coming with me." "Hey, let him go," Ethan shouted, stepping forward. Dominic turned his head, just slightly. The look he gave Ethan was so cold, so utterly dismissive. It was more terrifying than any shout. "He is not yours to touch." "Dominic, stop. What's your problem?" I gasped, pulling uselessly against his grip. He yanked me against his chest, his arm a steel band around my waist. He dipped his head, and I felt him inhale at the junction of my neck and shoulder. A low, visceral growl rumbled in his chest. "My problem," he said, his voice dangerously soft, "is that you reek of him." He began nuzzling my hair, my neck, my shoulder, dragging his skin and scent over me. It was a primal, shocking act. "Stop looking at him," he whispered into my ear, his breath scorching. "Stop letting him touch you. He has no right. You're mine, Alfred. My mate." Tears of frustration and fear welled in my eyes. "Stop talking nonsense. I'm not your mate. I don't even know what that means." "You'll understand when the time is right," he said, his tone infuriatingly casual, as if my world wasn't being torn apart. He finally looked at Ethan again. "Leave." One word. Flat. Absolute. I saw the color drain from Ethan's face. He looked at me, his eyes wide with hurt and confusion, and then he took a stumbling step back, and then another before turning and practically fleeing. When we were alone, Dominic's grip shifted. He cupped my chin, forcing my gaze to his. His thumb stroked my jaw, a terrifyingly gentle gesture. His eyes were pure fire. "You will break up with him. Tonight." My defiance was a weak, flickering thing. I can't. He's my boyfriend." His lips brushed my ear, and I felt the sharp, distinct points of his canines graze the sensitive skin. A full-body shudder racked me. "You can. And you will," he growled, the vibration seeping into my very bones. "Or I will mark you right here, Alfred, and you will feel what it means to belong to me." The threat wasn't empty. I could feel the truth of it in the air, in the possessive way he held me. I was trembling, completely overwhelmed. "Do you understand?" The fight left me in a rush. A broken whisper was all I could manage. "Yes." He pulled back just enough to look into my eyes, his own blazing with a fierce, unyielding truth. "I warned you," he said, his voice low and raw. "I tried to stay away, but you kept letting him touch you." He leaned his forehead against mine, and for the first time, I heard a crack in his control, a thread of pure, agonized obsession. "You have no idea what that does to me." He didn't kiss me. He sealed his claim with a surge of that same overwhelming energy, flooding my senses until I was dizzy with it, until the only thing I knew was his scent, his heat, his presence. When he pulled back, his final whisper was a promise and a condemnation. "I'm going to erase every trace of him." Then he took my hand, walked me to his car, and drove off. The ride was silent. Dominic's hand stayed on the steering wheel, his other resting casually on the space between us, close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating from him, far enough that I could pretend it didn't mean anything. The city lights faded, replaced by trees that looked like they'd been there for centuries. I'd never been this far from campus before. When the car stopped, I finally looked up. Before us stood a mansion. No, a fortress, built of dark stone and shadow. The kind of place that didn't just exist. It commanded. "Where are we?" I asked quietly. "My home," Dominic said, stepping out of the car. "You're safe here." I wasn't so sure about that. The gates closed behind us with a deep metallic echo, and the moment I stepped inside, every hair on my body rose. The air was thicker, charged, like the night itself was holding its breath. Inside, the house was beautiful in a cold, precise way. Polished floors, portraits that watched you, and faint traces of something wild lingering beneath the scent of candle wax. A woman stood waiting at the foot of the grand staircase. Her beauty was sharp, her eyes the same golden hue as Dominic's, but colder. "Mother," Dominic said, his tone respectful but strained. Her gaze drifted to me. "So this is the human." I froze, the word hitting harder than I expected. "His name is Alfred," Dominic replied, his voice clipped. She smiled faintly, but there was no warmth in it. "Dominic, we've discussed this. The bond can't possibly be real. He's human." "It is real." A low growl threaded through his words, and for the first time, I saw his control crack, just slightly. A man stepped out from behind her, older, stern. His father. "Maybe. You're an alpha, Dominic. You can't just choose someone. The bond is sacred. Wait until the moon chooses your true mate." "She already has." The way he said it sent a shiver through me. His parents exchanged a look, disbelief, maybe pity, and walked away without another word. When the echo of their footsteps faded, the silence pressed down on me again. Dominic turned toward me. His anger had vanished, replaced by something unreadable. "You shouldn't have had to hear that." I shook my head. "It's fine. I mean, they're right. I'm not like you." His expression softened, just a little. "You think I don't know that? You think I haven't fought this every single day since I first saw you?" He stepped closer, eyes glinting. "But the bond doesn't care about bloodlines or strength. It just is." "I don't even understand what that means," I admitted quietly. "You keep saying mate like it's something sacred, but I don't." "Come with me." He led me through a long hallway and out to a balcony overlooking the forest. The moon was rising, huge and white, spilling silver light across his face. "Do you feel that?" he asked. I frowned. "Feel what?" He took my hand, placing it flat against his chest. His heartbeat was fast, strong, steady. "This," he said, "when an alpha meets their mate, the world changes. Every sound, every scent, every heartbeat sharpens. You feel their emotions as if they're your own. If they're hurt, you ache. If they're scared, you burn to protect them." His voice dropped lower, raw. "When I saw you with him, my instincts thought you were in danger. My body reacted before I could think." "Dominic," I whispered, unsure if I wanted to pull away or lean in closer. He looked down at me, gold eyes burning like embers. "You need to understand something, Alfred. When a mate lets another person touch them, the alpha feels it. Every single time." "What happens if it keeps happening?" I asked, barely breathing. His jaw tightened. "We lose control." The bond phrase. "It turns us into something we're not supposed to be." He paused, then added more quietly, "That's why I tried to stay away. Because I didn't want to hurt you." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The forest hummed beneath the moonlight, and the distance between us felt too small for all the questions inside me. Finally, I said, "You could have just told me." "I wanted to," he said, voice breaking slightly. "But once the bond starts, words don't always help. Instinct takes over." He took a step back, forcing a breath. "You need to rest. Tomorrow we'll talk again." But as he turned to leave, I caught his wrist. "Dominic." He stopped. "I don't know if I believe all of this," I said honestly. "But when I look at you, I feel something I can't explain either." A flicker of emotion crossed his face. "Hope, maybe." "Then that's enough for now." He brushed his thumb gently across my cheek, his touch light this time, almost reverent. "Good night, Alfred." And as he walked away, I felt it again. That strange pull, soft but unbreakable, tying me to him even when he wasn't there. The Hale mansion slept in silence. But I couldn't. I lay in the massive bed Dominic had insisted I use. Too big, too soft, too full of his scent. It clung to the sheets, the pillow, the air itself. Warm and heavy, like cedarwood and storm clouds. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face under the moonlight. The way his voice had broken when he said, "I didn't want to hurt you." I didn't know how to process any of it. Alpha, bond, mate. Words that didn't belong in my world were now pressing against my chest like something real and alive. Footsteps outside the door pulled me from my thoughts. Soft, deliberate. Before I could even sit up, there was a quiet knock. Alfred. His voice. Low. Careful. Come in, I said. Dominic stepped in, barefoot, wearing a black t-shirt and sweatpants. His hair was slightly damp, like he'd just showered, but his eyes still burned like the night before. I didn't mean to wake you, he said. You didn't. I wasn't sleeping. He hesitated, then crossed the room. The moonlight from the tall windows cut across his face, making him look both otherworldly and heartbreakingly human. Earlier, I started. What you said about the bond. I need to understand. I can't just feel something this strong and not know why. Dominic's jaw flexed. He sat on the edge of the bed, careful to leave a bit of space between us. You really want to know? I nodded. He looked away for a moment, collecting his thoughts. Then softly he said, when an alpha finds their mate, it's not just love. It's instinct, primal, sacred, older than our kind. The bond forms the first time our eyes meet. From that moment, every heartbeat, every breath you take, I feel it. He glanced at me, and there was something almost fragile in his eyes. When you're happy, it calms me. When you're hurt, it feels like a knife inside my chest. And when someone else touches you, he stopped, exhaled slowly. It's not jealousy, Alfred. It's pain. Like my body's trying to tear itself apart. I swallowed hard. And that's why you lost control, he finished for me. Yes. His voice was rough, almost ashamed. I thought I could handle it. I told myself you were human, that it wouldn't be real. But it is. Every alpha knows the scent of their mate. It calls to us. He turned fully toward me now, eyes gold and steady. You asked me what happens if a mate gets involved with someone else. I nodded, heartbeat loud in my ears. The bond weakens, he said quietly. For an alpha, it feels like drowning. We can't breathe right. We lose our strength, our sense of control. Some never recover. Some go feral. The room went still. I didn't realize I'd been holding my breath until it shook out of me. So if I stayed with Ethan, Dominic's expression tightened, but his voice stayed gentle. You'd survive. I wouldn't. My throat closed up. He wasn't saying it as a threat. He was just telling the truth. Dominic, that's not fair, I whispered. He gave a small, tired smile. It's not supposed to be. The bond doesn't ask for permission. It just happens. He stood, running a hand through his hair like he was trying to shake off something heavy. That's why I didn't want you to know. Because once you understand it, it's harder to walk away. I looked at him for a long moment, something warm and terrifying blooming in my chest. You think I want to walk away? He froze. I don't even understand half of this, I said, voice trembling. But when you're near me, I feel safe. And when you're gone, it's like the room forgets how to breathe. For the first time since I'd met him, Dominic looked genuinely shaken. His composure cracked, replaced by something raw and human. He sat back down, closer this time, so close our knees brushed. You don't know what you're doing to me, he murmured. Maybe I do, I whispered back. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was alive. Every heartbeat, every inhale between us felt shared. Dominic reached out slowly like I might vanish. His fingers brushed mine, and for a second, everything inside me stilled. When the bond is complete, he said softly, our scents will merge. I'll carry yours and you'll carry mine. We'll feel each other no matter where we are. It's not a chain, Alfred. It's a promise. He looked straight into my eyes. But I won't mark you unless you want it, even if it means living half alive. Something inside me broke open at that. The honesty, the restraint, the ache in his voice. Dominic, I whispered, I don't know if I'm ready to be someone's mate, but I want to understand you. All of this. Us. His hand slid up, cupping the side of my face. Then that's all I need. He didn't kiss me, he just leaned his forehead against mine. Our breaths mingled, hearts sinking in quiet, steady rhythm. "Sleep, Alfred," he murmured. "I'll be right here." And he was. He stayed until I drifted off. A silent guard. A shadow with golden eyes and a heart that beat in time with mine. I woke up alone. The sunlight bleeding through the curtains painted the room gold, but it didn't reach the cold space beside me. For a moment, I thought last night had been a dream. The talk, the touch, the warmth of Dominic's hand against mine. But then I caught it, his scent. Faint but everywhere. Proof that he'd been here, watching over me like he promised. I sat up, rubbing my eyes, trying to shake the fog in my head. My heart felt off, heavy. My skin prickled with heat that wasn't fever, wasn't fear. Something else. Something missing. Downstairs, voices echoed through the hall. I followed them, barefoot, drawn to the low rumble of Dominic's voice. But as I reached the doorway, I stopped. He wasn't alone. "Dominic, this has gone far enough." His father's voice boomed. "He's human. The bond will destroy him. You'll lose your rank, your control." "I don't care about rank." Dominic's tone was sharp, dangerous. "He's mine." His mother's voice cut in, smooth and cold. "The council will never recognize it. Humans can't bear an alpha's mark. You'll kill him or he'll kill you. Is that what you want?" My stomach turned. "You think I haven't thought about that every second since it happened?" Dominic snapped. "You think I wanted this?" The silence that followed was louder than shouting. Finally, his father said quietly, "Then do what's right. Let him go before the bond consumes you both." Dominic didn't answer. I stepped back before they could see me, my heart pounding, my breathing uneven. "Let me go, before it consumes us both." Was that what I was doing to him? I stumbled toward the door, needing air, needing to think. But halfway down the corridor, everything blurred. The world tilted. A sharp pain tore through my chest, and I collapsed, gasping. The last thing I heard was someone shouting my name, and then nothing. When I opened my eyes, the room was dim again. Night had fallen. My body burned, every nerve lit with invisible fire. Dominic was kneeling beside the bed, his hands trembling as he brushed my hair from my forehead. His eyes, those gold eyes, were glowing brighter than ever. "Don't move," he whispered, voice breaking. "You're going through the bond sickness. Your body's rejecting the link." "What's happening to me?" I croaked. "You're caught between worlds," he said, his voice rough. "Your body's fighting a connection it doesn't understand. It's my fault. I should have marked you the moment I realized." "Marked me?" He nodded, eyes glistening. "The mark completes the bond. It stabilizes your scent, your heartbeat. It tells every part of me that you're mine, and every part of you that you're safe." I shook my head weakly. "But your family said." "I don't care what they said," he snapped, voice raw with emotion. "I care about you." He leaned closer, his forehead pressed to mine, his voice trembling. "Alfred, listen to me. If I don't do this, you'll die." The word hit hard. "Die." He swallowed hard, eyes searching mine. "But if I do, there's a chance your body won't take it. Could kill you too. I won't risk that unless you tell me to." "Dominic." His hands were shaking now, gripping the blanket like he was trying to hold himself back. "Say the word, and I'll walk away. Even if it kills me. Just don't." "Do it," I whispered. He froze. "I trust you," I said softly. "If this is what it means to be your mate, then I'll take that chance." For a moment, the world stopped. Then his expression crumbled. Relief, pain, love, all at once. "Alfred." His voice was nothing but a breath. He leaned down, pressing his lips to the curve of my neck. His breath was warm, his hand firm on my chest, feeling the rhythm of my heartbeat. "Stay with me," he whispered, and then I felt it. A sharp electric sting followed by a rush of warmth that spread through my entire body. It wasn't pain. It was recognition. Every nerve, every beat, Every breath suddenly knew him. And in that moment I wasn't afraid. I felt him, not just near me, but inside me. His heartbeat, his emotions, the quiet hum of his soul wrapped around mine like light and shadow folding together. Dominic pulled back, his lips trembling, his canines stained faintly with blood. "It's done," he murmured. "You're safe." I touched the side of my neck, where his mark glowed faintly golden in the moonlight. "It doesn't hurt," I whispered. "It's not supposed to," he said softly. "It's supposed to remind you that you're not alone anymore." He brushed his thumb gently over my cheek, eyes full of something that went beyond instinct. Devotion. Maybe. I smiled weakly. "Does this mean I'm one of you now?" He huffed a small laugh, shaking his head. "No, you're still human." Then his gaze softened. "You're just mine." And for the first time, I didn't flinch from the word. The first thing I felt was warmth. Not sunlight, not heat, him. Dominic's heartbeat pulsed against my back, steady and deep. Every breath he took pulled through my lungs too, like our bodies had decided to share the same rhythm. When I opened my eyes, his arm was already around me. He wasn't sleeping, he was just watching. "You scared me," he said quietly. His voice had none of the steel I'd heard before, only exhaustion and relief. I smiled weakly. "You should see yourself. You look like you fought a storm." I did. His thumb brushed my cheek, and I almost lost it. By the time I could stand, the mansion was stirring. Servants whispered, doors opened, and I felt dozens of unfamiliar scents swirling. Dominic's family. The moment we stepped into the hall, the whispers stopped. His mother looked at my neck first. The faint gold shimmer of the mark was visible against my skin. "You marked him," she said softly, almost disbelieving. Dominic's jaw tightened. "He's alive, isn't he?" His father stepped forward, studying me. "It shouldn't be possible." I took a breath. My knees wanted to shake, but Dominic's hand slipped into mine. The bond hummed. A pulse of strength that wasn't just his, it was ours. "Maybe it's possible because you were wrong," I said, surprising myself. "Maybe being human doesn't make me weaker. It just makes me me." For a heartbeat, no one spoke. Then Dominic's father exhaled, long and low, as if the fight had finally left him. "Perhaps the moon chooses in ways we don't understand," he admitted. Dominic squeezed my hand once, wordless gratitude. Later, the council demanded to see us. They gathered under the moon's silver light, a circle of sharp eyes and ancient authority. I could feel Dominic tense beside me. The eldest counselor spoke first. "You risked your life, Alpha Hale, and the humans. Why?" Dominic's voice was calm, proud. "Because he is my mate. And if we told you to undo it?" He smiled faintly. "Then I would tell you that fate doesn't take orders." The counselor's gaze shifted to me. "And you, human? Do you accept this bond?" My throat was dry, but the answer came easily. "Yes, because he didn't choose it either, but he still chose me." A silence fell, and for once, it didn't feel hostile. Then the eldest nodded slowly. "So be it. The bond stands." When the ceremony ended, the night was quiet again. We stood outside beneath the same moon that had watched us since the beginning. "Everything's going to change now," I said. Dominic looked down at me, his gold eyes soft. "It already has." He bent his forehead to mine, the smallest smile ghosting across his lips. "You're part of my world now. Not because the bond says so, but because I can't imagine it without you." "And you?" I asked. "Still planning to keep me locked in your fortress?" He chuckled. "Only if you run." I grinned. "Then you better be fast." For the first time, the word mine didn't sound like a claim. When Dominic walks beside me, people still stare, half curious, half wary, but I don't hide anymore. Sometimes, when his hand brushes mine, I still feel the echo of that first spark, the one that changed everything. I used to think alphas were myths. Now I know they're real, because one of them is mine, and I am his human heart and soul.